Pierre-Simon, Marquis de Laplace, the 23rd of March 1749 to the 5th of March 1827, was a French scholar and polymath whose work was important to the development of engineering, mathematics, statistics, physics, astronomy, and philosophy. He summarized and extended the work of his predecessors in his 5-volume Mécanique Céleste, Celestial Mechanics, 1799 to 1825. This work translated the geometric study of classical mechanics to one based on calculus, opening up a broader range of problems. In statistics, the Bayesian interpretation of probability was developed mainly by Laplace. Laplace formulated Laplace's equation, and pioneered the Laplace transform, which appears in many branches of mathematical physics, a field that he took a leading role in forming. The Laplacian differential operator, widely used in mathematics, is also named after him. He restated and developed the nebular hypothesis of the origin of the solar system and was one of the first scientists to postulate the existence of black holes and the notion of gravitational collapse. Laplace is remembered as one of the greatest scientists of all time. Sometimes referred to as the French Newton or Newton of France, he has been described as possessing a phenomenal natural mathematical faculty superior to that of any of his contemporaries. He was Napoleon's examiner when Napoleon attended the École Militaire in Paris in 1784. Laplace became a Count of the Empire in 1806 and was named a Marquis in 1817, after the Bourbon Restoration. Some details of Laplace's life are not known, as records of it were burned in 1925 with the family château in Saint-Julien-de-Mélac, near Lisieux, the home of his great-great-grandson the Comte de Colbert Laplace. Others had been destroyed earlier, when his house at Arcueil near Paris was looted in 1871. Laplace was born in Beaumont-en-Auge, Normandy on the 23rd of March 1749, a village 4 miles west of Pont-l'Évêque. According to W. W. Rouse-Ball, his father, Pierre de Laplace, owned and farmed the small estates of Marquis. His great-uncle, Maître Oliver de Laplace, had held the title of Chirurgien Royal. It would seem that from a pupil he became an usher in the school at Beaumont, but, having procured a letter of introduction to D'Alembert, he went to Paris to advance his fortune. However, Karl Pearson is scathing about the inaccuracies in Rouse-Ball's account and states, indeed Caen was probably in Laplace's day the most intellectually active of all the towns of Normandy. It was here that Laplace was educated and was provisionally a professor. It was here he wrote his first paper published in the Melanges of the Royal Society of Turin, Tome IV. 1766 to 1769, at least 2 years before he went at 22 or 23 to Paris in 1771. Thus before he was 20 he was in touch with Lagrange in Turin. He did not go to Paris a raw self-taught country lad with only a peasant bacillogram round. In 1765 at the age of 16 Laplace left the school of the Duke of Orleans in Beaumont and went to the University of Caen, where he appears to have studied for 5 years and was a member of the Sphinx. The École Militaire of Beaumont did not replace the old school until 1776. His parents, Pierre Laplace and Marie-Anne Sauchon, were from comfortable families. The Laplace family was involved in agriculture until at least 1750. But Pierre Laplace Sr. was also a cider merchant and syndic of the town of Beaumont. Pierre-Simon Laplace attended a school in the village run at a Benedictine priory, his father intending that he be ordained in the Roman Catholic Church. At 16, to further his father's intention, he was sent to the University of Caen to read theology. At the university, he was mentored by 2 enthusiastic teachers of mathematics, Christophe Gadbold and Pierre Lecanu, who awoke his zeal for the subject. Here Laplace's brilliance as a mathematician was quickly recognized, and while still at Caen he wrote a memoir sur le calcul intégral aux differences infiniment petites et aux differences finies. This provided the first intercourse between Laplace and Lagrange. Lagrange was the senior by 13 years, and had recently founded in his native city Turin a journal named Miscellanea Turinensia, in which many of his early works were printed, and it was in the 4th volume of this series that Laplace's paper appeared. About this time, recognizing that he had no vocation for the priesthood, he resolved to become a professional mathematician. Some sources state that he then broke with the church and became an atheist. Laplace did not graduate in theology but left for Paris with a letter of introduction from Lecanu to Jean-Laurent d'Alembert, who at that time was supreme in scientific circles. According to his great-great-grandson, d'Alembert received him rather poorly, and to get rid of him gave him a thick mathematics book, saying to come back when he had read it. When Laplace came back a few days later, D'Alembert was even less friendly and did not hide his opinion that it was impossible that Laplace could have read and understood the book. But upon questioning him, he realized that it was true, and from that time he took Laplace under his care. Another account is that Laplace solved overnight a problem that D'Alembert set him for submission the following week, then solved a harder problem the following night. D'Alembert was impressed and recommended him for a teaching place in the École Militaire. With a secure income and undemanding teaching, Laplace now threw himself into original research, and for the next 17 years, 1771 to 1787, he produced much of his original work in astronomy. From 1780 to 1784, Laplace and French chemist Antoine Lavoisier collaborated on several experimental investigations, designing their own equipment for the task. In 1783 they published their joint paper, Memoir on Heat, in which they discussed the kinetic theory of molecular motion. In their experiments they measured the specific heat of various bodies, and the expansion of metals with increasing temperature. They also measured the boiling points of ethanol and ether under pressure. Laplace further impressed the Marquis de Condorcet, and already by 1771 Laplace felt entitled to membership in the French Academy of Sciences. However, that year admission went to Alexander Théophile Vandermonde and in 1772 to Jacques-Antoine Joseph Cousin. Laplace was disgruntled, and early in 1773 D'Alembert wrote to Lagrange in Berlin to ask if a position could be found for Laplace there. However, Condorcet became permanent secretary of the Academy in February and Laplace was elected associate member on the 31st of March, at age 24. In 1773 Laplace read his paper on the invariability of planetary motion in front of the Académie des Sciences. That March he was elected to the Academy, a place where he conducted the majority of his science. On the 15th of March 1788, at the age of 39, Laplace married Marie-Charlotte de Courty de Romanges, an 18-year-old girl from a good family in Besançon. The wedding was celebrated at Saint-Sulpice, Paris. The couple had a son, Charles-Émile, 1789 to 1874, and a daughter, Sophie Suzanne, 1792 to 1813. Laplace died in Paris on the 5th of March 1827, which was the same day Alessandro Volta died. His brain was removed by his physician, François Magendie, and kept for many years, eventually being displayed in a roving anatomical museum in Britain. It was reportedly smaller than the average brain. Laplace was buried at Père Lachaise in Paris, but in 1888 his remains were moved to Saint-Julien-de-Mélac in the canton of Orbec and reinterred on the family estate. The tomb is situated on a hill overlooking the village of Saint-Julien-de-Mélac, Normandy, France.